Good evening and welcome. I'm Steve Leisman, your host this evening. Hope you already spend a little bit of your mornings with me on CNBC Squawk Box, and we'll spend the next hour here as well. We're going to do this on time. I want to thank you all for joining us. I know these are very difficult times for many, and we know there's also a lot of need out there right now. But the old needs and the existing needs that were before the pandemic, well, they need tending to as well. And so I want to really thank you all for joining us. Hope you're all as generous as you can be this evening. I have been for many, many years a big fan of the Council for Economic Education for a very simple reason. And I say this almost every year. They teach people how to teach teachers how to teach kids. And so the multiplier effect on the assistance that's given here is really fantastic. Echoes out, and especially at these times, these hard times where, people have trouble with their livelihoods, their jobs. The economic education could not be more important than it is right now. And so we hope you'll do your best to help us. You've already done great by joining us. I especially want to welcome the kids and the teachers who are tuned in tonight. And I am happy, as always, well, maybe not in the same actual room, but the same virtual room with our CEO and good friend, Nan Morrison. Nan?
Steve. Hey, I feel the same way about you, Steve. It's a little bit of normalcy. Seeing you, having this benefit, it's very welcome time. Thank you so much for being here, as always. And I hope you feel all the good vibes that I'm sending to you, even though we're far away. We're near in spirit.
Oh, great. So it would be normal, of course, if we had our lamb dinner. I don't know that I missed that, but, again, for normalcy and doing things the way we did them, well, we would have had lamb dinner tonight. Maybe you're at home and you're cooking lamb dinner because you enjoyed the tradition at the Council for Economic Education. At least I hope you all have your CEE signature cocktail. So we're going to begin tonight's lamb-free program tonight. There are some buttons, folks, on the top right corner of your screen that you can use this evening. And there's one, of course, I want you to pay special attention to. That's the one marked Donate. We're going to begin tonight with that indispensable tool in any election year. It's a poll. It should be on your screen now. So select your choice. I guess I could read it for you if you don't see it. Where do most of you get your financial education from? A, CNBC. B, mom and dad. C, don't need it. I just use my credit card. And D, from that guy I bought the bridge from. Make your choice. Well, that's pretty good. CNBC ends up a close second. Well, not a close second, I guess a far second to mom and dad, but at least we're second. We have a little work to do. And I guess mom and dad is not a bad answer. I remember talking to one guy who just got a big bonus for signing in the NFL. He made all his choices based upon Money Magazine. Knowing some of the analysts and strategists and financial planners I've talked to over the years, Money Magazine may not be so bad. And now, the meat of our program. Tonight, you'll hear a bit of how CEE made it through this crisis. We'll look at some of the big issues that impact all of us. We'll honor some great teachers, hear from teachers and kids, my personal favorite part. Chat with luminaries. We have an amazing, amazing panel coming up. And in the end, hopefully, we have some fun. And we will feel a little normal throughout all of this. This is from Nan. She says this comes from a funny thing happened on the way to the forum. As Zero Mostel might say, something familiar in times peculiar. So let's hear now from aforementioned Nan on this year, the dreadnought or very peculiar year of 2020.
Thanks, Steve. In business school, I studied corporate leadership. In a 20-year-long career in consulting, I evaluated corporate leadership. But this year, I discovered it, as have so many of us who are shepherding our staff and organizations through an unimaginable crisis. Worse, it was a crisis with compounding interest, paid in uncertainty and worry. Recently, someone on our staff said to me, "Work has been a bubble of normalcy for me, a welcome routine in the face of chaos." For me too. See, staff stepped up mightily. Our mission became even more compelling and more tangible bringing modern-day survival tools to our kids in the form of personal finance and economic education. We are all gaining a deeper understanding of economic inequities and the power of economic analysis in addressing these. We are capitalizing on virtual as a tool to broaden our reach and access to more teachers and students. This year, thousands of students still participated in our direct student programs. We reached over 600 students at our educator conference, 800 teachers at our virtual summer institute, and we're on track to reach over 10,000 teachers through our national webinars this year, twice as many as last year. We are re-envisioning the future so that we can deliver concrete products and survival skills for teachers, their students, and their families. If Black Swan events become more frequent visitors, our kids will be better prepared, their families and communities more resilient. In this video, you'll see just a small portion of what our team accomplished in 2020.
This year, our nation's students and teachers needed support more than ever, and the Council for Economic Education was there to help. Just days after our nation went into lockdown, the Council guided teachers in adapting to a new, challenging virtual world.
Advanced techniques for how to use Google Classroom's digital suite.
CEE offered virtual teaching webinars.
I'm hoping that you're here because you're finding some challenges and you're looking for a little bit of advice.
And an immersive virtual summer institute, reaching 800 attendees from 49 states, with help one teacher called a valued resource in turbulent times. In total, CEE's webinars are on track to reach over 10,000 educators. For young students, we adapted our popular family financial fun nights with at-home packets. And for high school students, CEE's Invest in Girls program hasn't stopped.
Do you think people are going to invest more or less?
Starting to offer financial workshops virtually.
Do you have a specific mentor?
What type of struggles did you face?
What is one piece of advice that you'd give to people who look up to you, especially for people who might lack self-confidence?
CEE's enormously popular signature challenges in economics and personal finance, in which 30,000 kids participate annually, went virtual this year in less than 2 months. This year with the help of CNBC's Karen Feinerman and Loretta Mester of the Federal Reserve.
I don't think it can get better than this in terms of a competition.
It meant so much to us to be able to still compete in this.
The NPFC really, it kind of makes learning fun.
The best thing for me was the amount of knowledge I gained from this competition.
This competition, it really kind of opened my eyes.
It's so much fun to be able to use your brain and logic to apply economics to a real world context.
The Council for Economic Education, continuing to support our nation's teachers and students, continuing to provide access to crucial financial and economic education when it matters most.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I am Barry Hames, Chairman of the Board of the Council for Economic Education. I have never been more proud of CEE, its leadership and staff, and its performance as I have been during this crisis. As our nation's schools closed, this organization turned on a dime to meet teacher and student needs. This year's list of accomplishments is long, and the praise we received from educators was swift and robust. For example, one teacher wrote that CEE was a, quote, valued resource in troubled times. So please help us to further our mission. Your donations are fruitfully put to use for teachers, kids, and communities. So I hope you will consider helping us by pressing the donate button found on the upper right portion of your screen. Thank you. We hope you enjoy the evening.
Let me just spend a minute thanking Barry Hames for all that he does year after year for the Council of Economic Education, and echo what he said. CE has been bringing economic and personal finance education to our kids for over 70 years. Folks, the numbers don't lie, the numbers that Nan just was talking about. And there's 3 good reasons for the success. It has institutional wisdom that comes with longevity. It works to remain relevant to its time every day, and it has enormous heart and dedication. I think you'll see some of that here. And I want you to listen very, very carefully to what Nan's about to talk about, because it's really, really important. Nan?
This COVID virus has been a national stress test. It revealed fault lines throughout our society, especially in the far higher health and economic tolls taken in minority communities, from inner city to remote Native American lands. The damage inflicted on these vulnerable communities in terms of the next generation is incalculable. The economist Raj Chetty recently completed a massive data analysis across generations of all races and income groups, a veritable quantitative Taj Mahal. It demonstrates how the failure of intergenerational wealth transfers among Black and Brown families is one of the core reasons that racial wealth inequality is so entrenched. Almost 70% of middle-class Black children, for instance, are more likely to become poorer than their parents. Chetty describes it this way. Trying to climb the income ladder for Black Americans is almost like you're on a treadmill. You climb up in one generation, only then to fall behind again, and to have to climb up again once more. And it's that cycle that has to be broken to combat these disparities in the long run. What Chetty believes, and so do we, is that economics can be a way to solve problems, not just describe them. Our professional development webinars have always shared economic knowledge and pedagogy, but this year we created a webinar on culturally responsive teaching. It focuses on the importance of hope for our kids. Why else do we teach? But this hope is not a placebo. It is not what Martin Luther King called the tranquilizing drug of gradualism, nor is it what another educator described as a false hope rooted in the optimism of the spectator who does not suffer. It is a hope defined by the sense of personal agency that our children acquire when they feel that they have the tools necessary to negotiate the normal challenges, and sometimes not so normal, in the world. It is what we at CEE call a sturdy hopefulness, based on skill, knowledge, and confidence. When kids and their families lack the knowledge they need to get credit, establish savings, evaluate insurance, buy homes, much potential opportunity remains invisible to them, out of reach. As our great friend from the Federal Reserve, Janet Yellen, says, it is important to the nation to have an economically educated electorate. Institutional legitimacy, social trust, rely in the end of the faith of our children being well met.
Our country's financial inequities when it comes to race and gender are now front and center. These inequities are eroding social trust and even threatening the legitimacy of our economic system. While these problems have no easy solutions, there is a way to move the needle: education. The Council for Economic Education continues to expand its programs in lower and moderate income communities, recently offering a popular webinar on culturally responsive teaching.
Your classroom, the text that you choose, how you teach it, all of that needs to be reflective of the people who you are serving.
Supporting our educators in engaging students of all backgrounds. And CEE is advocating for personal finance and economics requirements in every state. This is essential. In CEE's 2020 survey of the states, we found that in states without requirements, there is a nearly 16-point gap in access to financial education between kids from lower income families and those from wealthier families. And recently, Raj Chetty, a Harvard economist, confirmed these results in a massive study that showed Black and other minority families are generationally excluded from the American dream.
The purple dots are for Black kids. The green dots are for white kids. And you see what I think is a really disturbing pattern about America, which is if you look at the purple dots, they tend to cascade towards the bottom. So even if you grew up in a high-income family, you have a tremendously high chance of ending up even, in the bottom fifth or certainly in the lower middle class.
The Council for Economic Education is committed to expanding access to those who need it most, helping to change the financial imbalances that plague our nation.
I really want to applaud the work that the Council on Economic Education does. I think it's essential, as important as the traditional 3 R's, that students, by the time they're in high school, have some training in personal finance and also in economics more broadly.
Good evening. I'm Willard Hill, a member of CEE's Board of Directors and chairman of its Government Affairs Committee. Income security and economic mobility are social justice issues. That makes access to economics and personal finance education a social justice and civil rights issue, and one where bipartisan support ought to be possible. Our biennial survey of the states takes a close look at each state's requirements, standards, and support of initiatives to teach personal finance and economics in grades K through 12. It's a critical advocacy tool with state treasurers, governors, and students themselves who are pushing for this education. Entrenched economic inequities undermine social trust and the legitimacy of our political and economic systems. How can they not? A key responsibility of public officials, policymakers, and opinion leaders is to break through barriers that block access to opportunities to realize the American promise more broadly. CEE is on that front line, and it is my privilege to help them lead. Please click that donate button and help us build a pathway to a more equitable and just society for all its participants. Thank you for your support.
Willard, thanks very much. You're suggesting we can maybe yet manage some bipartisanship. Well, I really hope you're right. Wherever you actually are, if we could manage it, well, I hope that it would be around the importance of this education. Nan, why don't you take it away for our second poll?
Okay. Friends, do you feel that you have a good grasp on the economic issues facing us today and how we might address them? Select your answer. A, of course, I watch Steve on Squawk. B, no. C, I've been in my apartment for 6 months. Is there still an economy? D, my daughter was in the National Economics Challenge, so I just asked her. E, my son's teacher is an Alfred P. Sloan teaching champion, so our family is all set. Looks like, Steve, you're our winner.
Wow.
We have a great audience, clearly.
I think they're just being nice. That's what I think. Okay, well, I think that's our clue to do some of the people who teach the hard stuff, our 2020 Alfred P. Sloan Foundation Teaching Champions. Thanks to the generosity of the foundation, each teacher gets $5,000 in cash and the opportunity to attend and teach at CEE's recent Educator Conference. Here they are.
Around February of this year, we were assigned a project which sought to give us a true glimpse into the financial responsibilities that come with adulthood. I took on this task thinking we were just going to learn about the basics. We searched for apartments, set up a budget, wondered if we could afford a car. We worked out problems with math. Little did I know that this knowledge would help me further the financial independence of my own family members. It is Ms. Casus's willingness to go the extra mile for her students that makes the difference. If I needed a talk, advice, help with homework, or just a quiet place, Ms. Casus would provide that. I never expected that trigonometry would help me be an adult, but math truly is all around us. Congratulations, Ms. Casus.
Oh, thank you so much, Ainiri. It is really all around us. But it was such a pleasure to have you in my class last year, and I feel so blessed that you're in my advisory this year.
I'm really grateful that I was able to be one of your students this past year, and even more grateful that I'm able to have you as my advisor this year.
And it's for Ainiri and for all of our students that I'm so, so grateful and thankful for this amazing honor, and that programs like the Council for Economics Education exist. They provide resources in a field that's often overlooked, and provide exposure for students like Ainiri to be able to learn about economics. I've often seen on Facebook or in memes where people are complaining, I went to 4 years of high school, took math for 4 years, and I can't balance a budget, I can't do my taxes, I don't understand markets. Integrating economics education into math classes, and I'd say all classes, is essential, not just to get students excited, but also to give them a seat at the table. Programs like this ensure that so many more students will study economics and understand our financial systems so that they will take part in designing our future. Thank you.
Congratulations, Ms. Casus.
Thank you so much, Ainiri.
This past year, a very difficult one, was Mr. Kirkhart's first year teaching at Queens High School for Language Studies. Nonetheless, he had a big impact on me and many other students. Mr. Kirkhart was never judgmental, so students felt safe to confide in him. As seniors, we often feel pressure to know exactly what we want from life, and along with expectations to have a plan for the future. And that can feel very overwhelming. But Mr. Kirkhart always helped us see our own path. And whether I was in class with a bad mood or having many panic attacks because of tests, Mr. Kirkhart was always there and offered a listening ear. Mr. Kirkhart was our teacher, guide, and our friend. I feel more confident moving forward in the future because of his support. Congratulations, Mr. Kirkhart. You are the best.
Thank you, Mercedes, so much for those kind words and for being such a thoughtful, dedicated, and curious student. I also want to give my sincere thanks to the Alfred P. Sloan Foundation and the Council for Economic Education for this amazing award and recognition. I know that I, for one, really relied on CEE's lesson plans, multimedia sources, and other resources in planning my class this past semester, especially when we made the challenging shift to remote instruction. Thank you.
It is a tremendous honor to speak on behalf of someone who has put all his effort into making a difference in the life of his student. Being an outstanding teacher requires many skills, including empathy, charisma, dedication, and love. Mr. Al-Hassan is a superhuman, kind, noble teacher, and I wish all students could have someone like him to guide them. He has blown my mind like sparkles with his motivational speeches, encouragement, and support. The most meaningful lesson I learned in his class were forgiveness on the personal side and money management on the practical one. He taught us skills that even our parents would never teach us. How to deal with struggle, how to set boundaries in the most difficult situation, how to manage our finance, and so much more. He has been our father, brother, advisor, and friend. His smile represents hope. His determination is the key to break any barrier his students face. As the old saying goes, people get rewarded in public for what they have practiced in private for years. I am delighted that you won this significant award. You deserve it, the King of Wakanda.
Thank you so much, Fatimata, for those kind words. How are classes going at SUNY Purchase?
It's kind of hard, but we try to deal with everything. Like, the difficulties is all around us, so yeah. Thanks for asking.
You're welcome. You are certainly on your way to becoming the next Maya Angelou. Thank you. Thank you to the Council of Economic Education, Alfred P. Sloan Foundation, for your recognition of our work. As educators, it is important for us to empower our students to live meaningful lives through self-actualization. It is often said that money is not everything, but it does rank high up there with oxygen. When we empower our students with financial education and other important life skills, not only would we transform the lives of those students, but we would change their family narratives for generations to come.
Okay, so there's a couple of reasons I really enjoy doing this CEE event. I get to talk to really smart people like we're going to do in a few minutes. Janet Yellen has been part of it, and we have Ben Bernanke coming up. But the thing I really like about this is the opportunity, and the thing I really miss this year, to talk to the teachers and the kids. And of course, CEE runs this fabulous contest every year. It's the economic challenge, and I've had a chance to moderate that over the last several years, and just seeing how smart these kids are and what a difference this program makes to their lives is really quite remarkable. So why not? Thanks to the teachers, and why not hear more from the kids right now?
Hi, my name is Lorelei Lorraine, and I competed for 3 years in the Council for Economic Education's National Economics Challenge. Some of my proudest memories are of winning the national championship. Twice. The Economics Challenge is just one of the many programs that the CEE offers that allow curious students like me to explore our futures and discover new passions. The programs are rigorous and enriching, but most importantly, they're really fun.
I save money because if I needed to go to college and if college costs money, I'd have enough money to pay for college.
If I find a penny, I'll tell her, put this in the savings bond. $1, put this in the savings bond. As long as it's worth money, I will give it and I'll put it in my savings bond, because then after that, the money doubles up.
I think that econ will obviously help me with financing in the future, but also help me, I'll be able to interpret what's going on in the world better, and it's going to really help my decision-making skills in the future.
I love econ and I got passion in it.
Because I believe that we should all chase our passions, and deep down in my heart, I feel like economics lies within the range of my passion.
It's really fun learning about money, and you could win prizes.
It's important for us to know how to manage our money, so that way when we get older, we don't spend it on things that aren't necessary.
My mom uses money all the time. She likes to save money.
You can use this for the rest of your life.
I love all my teachers because they're like a second mother to me, or a second father. You never know what they could teach you in learning.
They're pretty and they help us so we can learn more, so we can learn who will we be in the future and how will we get there.
That's why I want to give a thanks to all the teachers, because I love my teachers.
This year, I'm starting my newest journey, studying economics at Columbia University. I'm already using the skills that I learned at the Economics Challenge, from study habits to critical thinking to networking, to succeed as a student and a citizen of the world. Thank you, CEE.
Thank you, Lorelei. The future, our kids. Since the outset of this crisis, I've recorded quite a few talks to our kids. I love the outdoors, so I like to tell them the story of an outdoorsman in Montana who was deep in wilderness territory when he stumbled upon a grizzly mom and, worse, her cubs. Suffice it to say, she attacked him twice in 30 minutes. Yet he walked out of there, not because he was stronger or tougher, though I'm sure that helped, but because he had two things in his possession: knowledge and skill. The economic upheaval brought by this crisis is our grizzly. Economic and personal finance education are the survival skills that CEE provides for our kids. With these tools, they can walk into the wilderness or the global marketplace with confidence. They too will know what to do to make it home. And making it home is the project for all of us in 2020.
Hi, my name is Celeste Colors. Through CEE, particularly their Invest in Girls program, I was given so many opportunities to grow and learn. The various financial literacy workshops, events, mentorship programs, and internships gave me a chance to pursue a deeper dive into the world of finance and learn more about what I'm interested in for my future. The opportunities provided by CEE are amazing, and the connections that I made are irreplaceable. Your support for these programs would be beneficial in allowing more students across the country to understand the world in which we live and prepare for a responsible, economically educated future.